Hi everybody, it's Andy Phillips here, and I got Mike Bristow from Crowd Property. Hi Mike, how you doing?
Hi Andy, very good to be here.
And we're going to be talking about what type of property deals you do, which is important. We obviously need to get some sort of criteria of what sort of things you can fund. So we've got your presentation. I'm just going to put your presentation up so you can see that now. There you go. So if you want to just go through these types, these criteria.
Sure, absolutely. So I sort of see this as so we're going to bring it to life with what kind of products we do. But I'm just going to start with a bit of a segue from last week's session, which sort of talked a bit about in quite a lot of detail how we help serve developers' needs. But I want to just touch on saving your time, valuing and saving your time, and what that brings, and then we'll talk about the types of projects we support. So just sort of jumping into that, this is something that I think many people massively undervalue, especially early on in their property careers. Okay, and I wanted to share a bit more of our research, and I alluded to it last week. But if we ask a typical developer how they spend their time, then a third of the time, which is the critical bit of which I've labelled faffing around with finance, and that is broadly a waste of your time. And let me just quantify how important that is, because we set out on this journey to reduce that time for developers such as yourselves and property professionals such as yourselves, reduce the time that is spent faffing around with finance. Right? Let's just put some numbers on that. So what if you spent a quarter of that time faffing around with finance? Right? Well, you can actually spend 40% more of your time finding sites and 40% more of your time delivering sites. And the reason why that's really important, okay, is that actually, if you think about that compounded over 5 years, right, you can grow your property business fivefold in that period by just cutting down the time you spend faffing around with finance. Okay, let us help you do that. And someone, I was talking this through with someone, and just staggered by actually, God, I've got to value my time. I've got to really think about how I spend my time, because what I want to be doing is spending the time on stuff that unlocks growth within my property business. And that just if you cut your time down, faffing around with finance, down to a quarter, you can grow your business fivefold better in 5 years.
It's interesting because you call it faffing around with finance, and in some ways, people sort of go, but it's not faffing around. I'm getting these, getting the financial sorted. I've got my broker. I've got all these different things going on. But at the end of the day, I've had to do this when I'm buying a property. You do sort of start from scratch most times. You might have a broker, you might have other bits and pieces in place, but every deal's different, and you do tend to faff around a lot. You do tend to try and find better deals, trying to find better ways of doing things. And it's instead of just cutting to the chase and saying, look, I need to go and find these properties. I need to go, because that's the most important thing. Finding a decent property is probably paramount to the business. And the money side is, once you've actually gone into that, you've found something, trying to find the best sort of deals and trying to find the best way of funding it. And there's more than one way of skinning a cat, and which is the best way. And you go through these mental hoops of, am I doing this the right thing? Doing this the right way? And it is true. It is faffing around. I know it trivializes it in some ways, but it's exactly what it is. It's faffing around trying to find the best way of financing something.
And I'm not, and when I say faffing around finance, I'm not saying that developers are the ones that are to blame for faffing around with finance.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
It is the lenders out there that aren't efficient, aren't acting in the best interest of developers and making it, quick, straightforward, easy, and reliable. And, that's the piece. It's solving that bit that we require less of your time
And consistency, deal after deal as well. I mean, if you're on a run of deals, you find 2 or 3 deals in a row. Having consistency at the background as well is probably the most important.
Exactly. So value your time. Really think about that. And then the other pieces that I touched on before is there's also there's not just the time bit. What we help to do is give you competitive advantage. So position yourself with vendors to get a better price. We can help you structure the best strategy and approach to a deal. And ultimately, we work hard with our developers, with our customers, so to increase the probability of success of your projects. And that is how a partnership acts. So I just wanted to sort of wrap up a bit from last week's session, because I think this point, so many people underestimate the importance of this and the value of their time. And actually, if that time is spent on things that aren't growing the business, it really, really stacks up as lost opportunity. But let's dig a bit into the sort of projects. We all love talking about specific projects. So what does Crowd Property do? Well, we fund anything, any sort of short-term finance across any type of project. And it's actually very interesting that we used to say that we did anything, right? We'd fund any type of project, any type of short-term requirement, bridging, new build, refurbishment, all of these sort of things, sort of catch all under that. We all fund anything. And then we get people phoning us up saying, "Oh, do you do new build finance?" It's like, well, yes, that's sort of covered under we'll fund anything. And so actually we thought, oh God, we better, humans love pigeonholes, right? So we broke this out into these are the products that we do and offer, and literally across the spectrum. So get in touch with us on any type of project that you're working on. And we've even got this bucket in the bottom right here called Special Situations Finance. What on earth does that mean? Well, some really interesting stuff that hasn't naturally fitted in all of the other icons here and product types. And that's where someone's approached us saying, I want to buy a portfolio of 10 Victorian single-let houses. I want to do a rolling refurb across the entire estate. I want to exit 3 or 4 of them, end up with no money down, and I've got 6 HMOs, some high quality HMOs that I've refurbed and I can let and I can really cash flow. That kind of acquisition is there's potential for that in the market, because there are, as soon as a landlord wants to dispose of their portfolio, then there are fewer buyers by definition. And actually, again, if you can get supported by a great lender that really understands how to structure that, then again, you can put yourself in front of the queue and potentially be offering a price that's not necessarily the highest.
This is another interesting aspect to this, because again, going back to this concept of faffing around with finance, when you're doing something like that particular thing you were talking about, where you've got a portfolio and you're going to do different types of things within it, that sort of puts a lot of pressure on you as the developer to try and find maybe one entity that is going to be able to do things like rolling refurbs, sales of certain product and keeping certain product, and working out the finance and the time scales and all that sort of thing. And there's not going to be one bank that's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And we have projects right across all of these products, and a lot of them challenge us. I was talking this morning on Clubhouse about a development joint venture finance, where especially right at the minute, project costs are going up because of materials inflation, and actually theoretically the end values aren't going up. So you assume it's the value today. So therefore, theoretically, actually residual land values are going down, but vendors aren't really factoring that in. And so how do you get a deal over the line and progressing? Well, potentially joint venture with that landowner or the existing building owner. And we've done that many, many times, structuring that in an SPV with the right contract, shareholder agreements, and all of that. And we can guide through that process of how to set that up. Again, if you're having discussions with landowners, you might be able to offer them a bit of a kicker at the end, okay, which then aligns better to what the price expectations they want from that land. And you can make the deal happen where many other people bidding on that may not be. Well, there's the danger of them overpaying, at which point, it may be right in certain circumstances to just step away and let someone else overpay for that project, because you have to make sure that there's enough money reward in it for all the effort and the risk that you take by embarking on a project. So, we'll help you across anything. I mean, good example is we were the first to introduce the modern methods of construction dedicated finance product, which has been popular, and it's clearly a big trend of things to come with modular construction. So let's have a look at some real world pictures, and here are some of the sort of the grander construction projects that we fund. And actually on top right here is a lovely village in Somerset, a place called Hinter St George, where the developer there had no experience, and he came to us with his team in hand, had built a really good team because he knew that this was going to be complex, and we backed him, and about 3 weeks ago he paid this back in full. So that's about a 5 million GDV project. And actually, if you look at this screen, these are bigger projects amongst the types of projects we do, but don't get put off by that. Okay, these are the ones that we put photos like this on social media, and they get a load of engagement. They get shared more widely by social media algorithms, and people build up a perception that we only do grand, sexy projects like these. And really don't think like that. We fund literally any type of project, and we're here and very much in the market to fund any type of project. And I'll show you a few others as well. So some commercial to residential projects here, and these vary in shape, size, and location, and everything. And some of these are pretty ugly. If you look at that middle row on the right-hand side, that's a pretty ugly building. And look, again, it's not just the big sexy projects. There's great opportunity in commercial to residential conversions. And then also in HMOs and co-living projects as well. And here you see the middle, the sort of the red building here on the bottom. That's a £100,000 student HMO conversion in Liverpool. So look, it really is every type of project. And again, we can help and advise and build the case for you, and help you risk manage through the process and increase the chances of you being successful in the project that you're working on, because it's in all our interests. We want you to be successful because that's good for the security of our loan. So we're very much in this together, and fully committed to that partnership. And one of the things you can do actually is take a look at our website, and crowdproperty.com, I think it's /case studies, you can access it through the menu system. These are 12 of our projects that we sent video crews out to, some during it, some after the project. And you can get a feel for the types of projects we back, the types of people we back, some of the challenges along the way, and how actually the partnership that they have with Crowd Property is helpful. And we've got actually the Hinton St George Somerset project I mentioned earlier. That's in the running for our 2021 Project of the Year. So we've got 5 projects that we've announced on social media that are in the running for that. Mo and Philip won that award on the top left here. That was Wyndham Hall in Plymouth. Won that project last year, and got 5 brilliant projects in the running, and that will actually be announced at the PIN dinner. So we'll have a big hoo-ha about the trophy award for that. So we're looking forward to that. Just picking out 2 or 3 of the products, stuff we see that's been hot recently is development exit and development finish and exit finance. What does that mean? Well, often projects run late, and that's not atypical during the pandemic as well. So often many of the other finance providers, they'll have quite heavy penalty interest rates and maybe penalty fees just when you don't really need them, they kick in. So we're refinancing quite a lot of projects that are nearing the end to enable them to finish off and grant them a sales period and get them off the sort of the penalty rates. Things like airspace development and modern methods of construction. These are very much, sort of key trends in the market to really enable the UK to build more homes quickly, efficiently, without requiring huge swathes of land, especially with the airspace development finance. And again, one of our other projects of the year projects was a modular drop onto an airspace development near Waterloo Station, which is one of our video case studies. So do have a look at that. That's a brilliant project there.
Yeah, I've gone through some of those case study videos, and there's a huge spread of different types of development in that, which again sort of goes through to show the sort of diversity of finance that you guys do.
Exactly, and it's and reflective of the diversity of project types that there are out there in the market, right?
Yeah.
And there's no cookie cutter approach to development finance such as what we do. You've just got to be packed full of experts to really help mitigate some of the risk towards it and help those developers succeed in the projects. These are a few of the things that are becoming hot. HMO and co-living finance, that's always going to be popular, and I think more and more larger schemes coming through. The joint venture finance, as I discussed earlier, setting up something where the landowner puts the land in, you put in the finance and arrange the finance and put the effort in, and then you can get to a mutually beneficial structure for that without actually transacting on the land or the asset, the building, whatever. And then special situations finance, kind of our catch-all for the beautifully complex and different deals that we see, that we really welcome and work hard to understand with you and help you out through that. And then the final piece is that just very, very recently we've introduced this planning game finance product, which enables us to assess and understand and bear the risk of earlier stage projects. So potentially those who don't yet have the benefit of full planning. We have in-house town planning capability here at Crowd Property, as well as all the sort of the elements and the skill sets required for delivering on what we are, which is property finance by property people. So this is very, very bespoke, and it's very much deal by deal. So if you're in this situation where you've got something where you're looking at planning permissions, you're looking at potential, you maybe want to get ahead of the game in terms of acquiring it, we can help you de-risk your acquisition of it, but also ultimately we can sort of fund earlier stage than before we launch this product. Why is that? How is that? Because we've got the in-house expertise to be able to really understand, guide and support you on that. So as I've mentioned before, the best approach is whichever bucket it is, just get your project in, apply through this just very, very brief and straightforward form, and let us help you think through the project. Let us help you guide, hey, look, actually, we're not sure about this because of X, Y, and Z. Maybe you shouldn't spend any more time on it. Or, yes, this looks like a great project relative to billions of pounds worth of projects we've seen before. Drop everything, close the deal. Let us help you negotiate with the vendor, etc. It's come to us early. Let us help you filter and find the best project for you to spend your time wisely to get the rewards that that you deserve from all of that effort undertaking a property project. So just wrapping up, really, as I mentioned before, property finance by property people, it's, this is different in the market. This is because this is what we wanted. We got the lender that we wanted when we were doing projects. We really care and committed to helping you deliver your property vision, and we'll do that with what you need from your finance provider. And that's very much around speed, ease, certainty, expertise, and transparency in funding your property projects. So we can be quick, we can be helpful. We've gone out there and built the best property project lender in the market because that's what we wanted. And there's no better place to start building a business when you identify the pain yourself, you're frustrated by nobody delivering to it, and you go and build it yourself. And that's very much what we went and did. So hopefully that gives you a bit more of a flavour of the types of projects that we fund. Broadly, in summary, it's anything. Let us help you with anything. Let us help you select those right projects, and let us help you with succeeding in delivering those.
That's brilliant, Mike. Just one thing. I mean, we'll put the link below the where they can apply. We'll put that link in. One thing that has struck me is that when a client has used you for a finance or financing a project that they've done, how do you think that their mindset is when they go into further projects, knowing of what you've already done for them in one project?
Yeah. Wow.
How do you think they go into the next projects? I mean, does it just take a lot of weight off, knowing that there is a route that they can go down, and that if they know their numbers, they know what they're doing, they know that there's going to be some speed and some certainty in there. Do you think that changes the mindset of the developer when they going to find new projects?
So massively, it's a confidence boost. But I mean, 40% of our lending is to developers that have borrowed more than once. So that level of repeat rate is really, really important. It's extra impressive when we're in high growth and acquiring new customers all the time. So that is actually a stat we're very, very proud of. And it really demonstrates that we are genuinely supporting people and enabling them to deliver those projects quicker, easier, and ultimately more successfully. It's a one of the visions we had was, look, lenders, never had we in our teams of doing projects ourselves, never we really put the lender as part of our power team. We'd have an architect, we'd have a planning consultant, we'd have flood risk consultant, all of these sort of people, advisors in our team, that actually once you've worked with someone, it's easier to work on the next one, the next one, the next one. We never really had a lender because we never really, quite frankly, trusted any of the lenders. It was all very transactional. It was all very project focused. It was all very, they had an aim to monetize as much as they possibly could out of one loan. Right? Whereas the way we think about the vision of building crowd property is, with a lender for the power team. So once you've worked with us once, you'll appreciate and really understand that support that we give you and that increased likelihood of success, firstly. But then secondly, the benefit of working with people time and time again is how we work. We know how you work. It's more efficient. It's quicker. It gives you greater advantage. You can then spend less time faffing around with finance, right? And more time growing your business. And that's really the heart of it. Nobody needs more stress in their lives, especially as property developers. If you can lock in the people that you really work well with and really trust and really back and know that they have your back, then that helps. That time invested in that relationship up front in that first deal, okay, you just benefit from that time and time again on future deals. So it's a big thing, growing your power team right across the services, including having a lender there.
Brilliant. Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you again, and hopefully it gives some people some hope that there is just a much simpler way, bottom line, of actually just getting their finances sorted out for the projects and the deals that they got coming up in future. So we're going to be doing another one over the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. We'll put the links in below that Mike spoke about, especially the apply one, because that's the major thing. And so if you do have a project that you're looking at right now, just go over to that, put the details in, and start talking. That's the key to this, isn't it?
Indeed, very much so. Thank you, Andy. Really appreciate it.
No problems. We'll speak to you next week.
Thank you.
Cheers, Mike.